The only thing on shakier ground than any crypto exchange platform right now is that little bit of time spent in between your chords. So today we're going to talk about what really helped me kind of become more confident in moving through the fretboard in between chords. So we're going to have a bunch of examples, but the first one we're going to use today is going to sound like this. Okay, so really it sounds a lot harder than it is, which is the golden ticket in guitar playing, all right? What we're going to do is a little arpeggio style riff after an F major chord that is going to happen in triplets. I really think the triplets are the best timing subdivision to kind of flesh out maybe chord tones and get you to another location, okay? So I'm going to do it one more time super slow, and then we're going to talk about basically what's going on here and how you can kind of use this methodology and thinking to just, you know, make your own playing more interesting and kind of shore up that space in between chords. So first of all, we get this F major chord. I'm hitting the root note first, then the riff. Into another chord. And back, okay? So let's talk about what this is. But first of all, this video is sponsored by Sweetwater. They have provided this amazing Bose S1 Pro battery-powered speaker. You may have seen me gig with these before. I did a show with Davidas just on 2 of these in stereo. It's great. It's not plugged into anything. It's just purely battery-powered. Sounds great. I got the Acoustasonic Telly going through it. Also, I did a video using their new L1, which I will link you to in the description too, because I played a whole show with that. If you guys have watched my channel, you know that I love Bose stuff and have been gigging on it ever since I've played my very first gig. It was on an L1 Compact. So shout out to Sweetwater and Bose for sponsoring this video. Definitely check out one of these or the L1 in the affiliate link description. Okay? So, F major chord, you probably know how to play this, right? It's just a bar chord. First fret, ring finger and pinky on the 3rd fret of the A string and the D string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. Okay? So first of all, we're going to establish that we're playing an F major chord. It's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Just one bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to jump into this. Okay, so you can think of these as a bunch of notes strung together. There's a very specific way that I'm thinking of this, and the timing of it is probably the most important thing. All right, so first of all, let's start with just this. Okay, how many notes did I just play there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's break these into 3 notes at a time. If we take a beat and divide it into 3 even beats, that's called a triplet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4, back to 1, okay? So we're going to take these 3 triplets, come up with 3 different 3-note phrases, okay? It's going to be, there's the first triplet right there, 1, 3, 5 on the A string, okay? Now I'm using my pointer finger, I'm using my pinky, and then I'm sliding with my pinky, okay? 1 triplet. So F major chord, 1 triplet. Alright, it may sound faster when you're doing it. Like that sounds pretty fast, but once you start linking these together and chaining them together, I think it'll really shore up your playing in between chords. Alright, so we have this. Those are our first 3 notes. The next 3 notes. I'm really just using my pointer finger to play the 3rd fret on the D string, which was in our chord. And then the 3rd fret of the G string. Okay, now what makes this sound cool, in my opinion, is we have that triplet where we're kind of pivoting on what I'm thinking of as actually a starting point for all of this, right? If you've ever seen any of the arpeggio videos that I've done, you may have noticed that that's the first 3 notes of the B flat major scale, right? Because it really is kind of signifying a B flat major chord. There's your B flat, a C, and a D. Now again, this is in the key of F. We're going to talk more about that in a second. But we've got that first 3 notes. And then if we stop right there, that's really just kind of like a B flat major arpeggio. some people are going to give me a hard time in the comments saying that a 2, the second note in the B flat major scale, would not be in a B flat major arpeggio, B flat major, non arpeggio, whatever. It's B flat major arpeggio, right? There's our major third. We have our root note. We're going to our major third and getting the 5th. And now what's really cool here, and then you can kind of come back to the octave, right? We're getting that octave in there. That's really the whole thing. You can think of this going forward and backwards through one simple line, arpeggio, however you want to look at it, but we're doing it in between this F major chord and we're going to end up on D minor 7. All right, so this is the third triplet. Remember, we ended here. Right there, your ring finger or your pinky, either one. I think sometimes I usually play with my pinky. 5D, go to 7D. That lines your pointer finger up with 5G, and then end there. So the third triplet is going to be a, and the fourth beat, we're just going to leave as just a regular quarter note back on the 7th fret of the D string. So, counted that, it would be 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4. Okay? Now, if we were to think about where these notes came from, you could be like, well, they come from the F major scale, or you could be like, all right, well, there's all these little chord tones and little chords that are hanging out inside of a scale. So I'm choosing to think of this note, that first fret on the A string, as being the first B flat in this run. So I'm thinking of it as a B flat major arpeggio that leads into an F major arpeggio, right? Because once we get to this third fret on the D string, there's our octave F, and then we're really doing that exact same shape. Okay, here's the B flat major one, and here's the F one. And the nice thing about linking these together is you can kind of just see them less as individual things and more of just a whole thing that is transferring you from this part of the neck into this part of the neck, okay? So that's why this really changed how I thought of just playing guitar in general, because I would be like, maybe before, and not say this is like a worse way or a bad way to play, I'd be like F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, D minor. But maybe when I was first starting out, just to go from this F, I'd have to really kind of rush myself to get to that D minor. The cool thing about this way of playing is it really is setting me up to already be in position for the next chord, okay? So there's a lot of different ways to make these connections, but once you start seeing as chords, the time between chords is opportunities to maybe make it easier for yourself to get to the next spot and also make it sound maybe a little more interesting. It just becomes a lot more fun to do, right? You know what else is really fun? Switching the badge on the Bose speaker right here. You can actually have this set up and do like different iterations. You can set it standing up this way. I just kind of like it on its side. But yeah, this thing just rotates. You can go back and forth. Now it's totally upside down. You can go through all the different setups. That's a lot of fun. It's worth buying it just for that. Great job, Bose. Amazing. Get it at sweetwater.com. F major chord. Okay, so now we're here. Once I get into this position, I'm thinking of that 5th fret to 7th fret position my hand's in as prime real estate for doing that classy move of taking a minor chord and hammering on the minor third and the 5th, right? So all I'm doing is the 5th fret from the A string down, and then my middle finger's coming down on the 6th fret of the B string, and my ring finger's coming on the 7th fret of the D string at the same time. And then back to C. F, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4, B minor, C. There's an easier way to play that C too. Like that, right? I can just take the 5th fret of the D, G, and B strings. Now there's space there too, right? Maybe I can do something with that space. That's actually something we talked about in a video last week, where every time you have a minor chord, you can do the same kind of pattern and rhythm, and that's why I love triplets, because they really just have a great way of linking together and chaining themselves into the next beat. So again, there's a little more flourishes there, but I'm just doing just kind of recap of that lesson from last week when we talked about this move. I'm just doing stuff around the D minor chord. So remember, we already did that hammer on there. Everything from this is really just from a D minor chord, but thinking of the 5th fret as being all fair game, and then where your ring finger, pinky, and middle finger go 7, 7, 6. In fact, if you want to do the exact same rhythm as we could actually go backwards into a different part of the song, right? So what I'm thinking now is like, this is a song that I'm actually working on, but if we have the first part of the song be F, D minor, C, maybe after this we go D minor. That's what I think of as maybe like a more traditional way. I'm sure you've heard something like that before. I'm just going into the E string rooted section of what I'm seeing in my mind's eye of like a roadmap of like, all right, maybe D minor pentatonic, because again, in the key of F, the 6th note is the relative minor. F, G, A, B, C, D. D is where the minor scale would be, or the minor pentatonic scale. So 10, 13, 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 13, 10, 13. One of the first ways a lot of people get into triplets are going backwards through the minor pentatonic scale in a triplet fashion. I've done this in tons of videos myself, right? 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4. What I'm doing is I'm starting in the highest note of that minor pentatonic scale. I'm going backwards 3 notes. There's my first triplet. Then I'm going forward 1 note and back 3 notes. There's my second triplet, forward, and then that open 4th beat, just like we did on the... It's really just kind of like the inverse of that almost. You can kind of hear how they go together but aren't the same thing, just because that rhythm is really just a melodic idea that we're working on in a really cool way that's easy to rip off because you already know this shape. So 13E, 10E, 13B is our first triplet. 10E, 13B, 10B is our second triplet. 13B, 10B, 12G is our third triplet. And then we end on the A on the B string 10th fret. Okay, so maybe the first time I do that, and then if I want to change it the second time around, I'll just do the exact same backwards pattern, but I'll start on the C on the B string, so the 13th fret. And it sounds like you know when you're doing what you're doing in context. So if I was going to be like D minor 7, which again, best chord ever, just the 10th fret all the way across. I'm skipping the A string. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, 7, B flat major 7. Then the next time, so it almost sounds like I'm choosing different melodies, but I'm really just choosing a different starting point for a sequence. Which again, getting these sequences in your head is super important because I think it really leads to cool creative ideas. And it doesn't have to be just following like a F chord with an arpeggio, right? You could totally do that. You could do like an F chord, then an F arpeggio. Something like that. I'm just going starting on an F. And then just kind of going straight down the line of an F major arpeggio. There's a lot of utility in that. But I'm a little more interested in maybe starting on a note that isn't the root note. That's why I think it sounds really cool to start inside that scale, but not on the chord tone that maybe you're expecting. And it sounds like an extension, because it's literally what it is, right? I'm just taking the 1, 2, 3, fourth note, representing even a B flat major chord or something, but I'm putting it inside this F chord spot. And again, that definitely sounds like F's position in our little chord pattern here. D minor, C, and then once you start doing these, you can maybe go out of the pattern a little more seamlessly, and that's something that I've noticed in my own playing. It's like, all right, I'm really gonna drill it to get that triplet sound. Like, it definitely sounds a certain way that's not just like, it doesn't sound like an exercise. It sounds musical because you're starting on that 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4, and again, really just cool to practice. The triplet vibe is what lends musicality to it, in my opinion, right? So that's why I think they work really well, is just kind of like putting in between these chords, and it's going to change your playing forever. Just like being able to rock out on batteries with the Bose S1 Pro is going to change just kind of like how you even think of amps. It's great just to have these. You can just use this as like a baller Bluetooth speaker, just, you know, at a pool party or wherever it is you frequent. I'm not gonna judge you or even talk much more about that. But anyways, thank you to Sweetwater for sending this over. I'll link this in the description. Affiliate link. Always support you guys helping out the channel. Anything you want to get at Sweetwater, there's huge sales going on through the end of the year. So make sure to use that affiliate link to help your boy out. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.